The Prime Minister says swift action is required to crush any return of racism to football before it impacts on wider society. David Cameron was speaking at the opening of a Downing Street anti-discrimination summit with former players and football bosses. He expressed confidence that the good work of 2 decades in battling prejudice in the sport would not be lost. Well, among those invited was the Tyneside-based charity Show Racism the Red Card. More now from our Westminster correspondent Gerry Foley.
Well, certainly a big turnout for the summit at number 10, and amongst those invited and taking part in the discussion was Kevin Miles from Show Racism Red Card. What did you get out of it? What did your organisation take away from it?
Well, I think any meeting that's chaired by the Prime Minister, flanked by the chair of the FA and the Culture Secretary, is obviously an indication that the issues are being taken seriously at the very top level. And that's refreshing, it's reassuring. They've addressed the issues of racism, but also the other forms of discrimination in the game, homophobia as well. And there was a real, I think, determinedness to actually do something about it, not to let the progress that's been made over recent years ebb away, but to keep up the momentum.
You've talked about the progress which has been made, which you've helped to lead the way with. Are you surprised that we've had all of these very high-profile incidents of racism in football on the pitch this year?
I think the incidents that we've had recently are a useful reminder that you can't afford to get complacent about any of these things. There's some positives to be taken from them. The fact that players are ready to report these things and expect them to be taken seriously. The sort of punishments that have been given out as well, I think, are an indication that it's not taken lightly. But clearly, it's illustrated the fact that racism hasn't gone away and there's still a lot of work to be done. And
briefly, your organisation, as always, needs funding. Are you going to get it, particularly with such a high-profile presence?
Well, it wasn't the sort of meeting where they get into that sort of detail, but certainly the mood of the meeting was that it's more power to the elbow of those fighting racism.
Good news.